The clash between Chelsea and Arsenal was far more than a simple London derby or a routine point in the Premier League calendar. It was a visceral, uncompromising statement of intent from two teams whose ambitions collided with ferocious physicality. Stamford Bridge hosted a match that often felt less like a fluid footballing contest and more like a tactical and emotional siege. A game defined by its relentless intensity, its frequent stoppages, and a psychological undercurrent that was as fascinating as the play itself. While the final scoreline suggests parity, the narrative that unfolded revealed profound insights into Chelsea's evolving identity and the one crucial element that still separates them from genuine supremacy. From the opening minute, the match was played on a knife's edge. Every duel carried extra weight, every challenge was a declaration. The ball spent remarkably little time in uninterrupted play as the contest was fractured by a constant stream of free kicks, throw-ins, and contentious decisions. This wasn't a match defined by intricate passing patterns or moments of sublime individual skill, though flashes existed. It was defined by sheer will, a match where two supremely motivated collectives were utterly focused on preventing the other from gaining any semblance of control or rhythm. The sheer work ethic and defensive desire on display were monumental, a tribute to the standards both managers have instilled. Yet, within this admirable intensity lay a more unsavoury, manipulative trend that threatened to overshadow the competitive spirit. The most jarring feature of the entire affair was the alarming frequency of exaggerated reactions and vocal simulations of agony from players on both sides. It transcended the typical gamesmanship seen weekly. This was a concerted, almost tactical deployment of audio drama designed explicitly to influence the officials. Players were not merely going to ground. They were emitting screams of anguish so loud and sudden they cut clearly through the broadcast microphones. Appeals for punishment that often bore little relation to the actual contact received. It created a bizarre duality for the viewer. Immense respect for the physical commitment, juxtaposed with profound irritation at the transparent attempts to get opponents sanctioned. It felt like both teams were on a parallel mission to stitch up the opposition, exploiting the high-stakes atmosphere to gain a numerical or disciplinary advantage. While one or two incidents involved genuine, painful contact, the theatricality surrounding them undermined the authenticity of the competition and became an unavoidable talking point. A stain on an otherwise brutally compelling spectacle. This environment of heightened sensitivity and manipulation inevitably led to the game's pivotal moment, the sending off. The red card decision, while debated, ultimately fell into the category of a justifiable outcome, given the modern interpretation of the rules. Let's see. The challenge, while perhaps not malicious in intent, carried significant risk due to its speed and the point of contact. In such a febrile atmosphere, with every action under a microscope, the margin for error disappears. The dismissal wasn't about stopping a clear goal-scoring opportunity. It was an unnecessary lapse in a zone of the pitch that didn't require such aggression, a momentary loss of composure from a player whose blood was pumping a little too fiercely. It was the kind of impulsive action that can happen to any player, especially the younger ones, when engulfed by the emotion of a colossal fixture. For Chelsea, it was a continuation of a concerning disciplinary trend this season, though it must be noted that not all their sanctions have stemmed from pure ill discipline on the pitch. The key learning moment is about controlling that emotional spike, about channeling the intensity into controlled aggression, rather than reckless abandon. The true test, however, came after the red card. Conventional wisdom suggests a team going down to 10 men becomes defensive, hangs on, and hopes to survive. What Chelsea displayed was the opposite. They were galvanized. The numerical disadvantage transformed into a unifying cause, a reason to fight even harder. The crowd, sensing their team's backs were against the wall, raised their volume, and the players on the pitch elevated their performance to another level entirely. There's a unique stubborn energy that a 10-man team can summon. A feeling of you're not beating us that permeates every block and every clearance. Chelsea deserve immense credit for this reaction. They didn't just park the bus. They managed the game with intelligence and continued to carry a threat, refusing to let Arsenal settle into a prolonged period of dominance. This resilience under extreme pressure is a non-negotiable trait for any team with aspirations of winning major honours. Frustrations, This brings us to the central question, emerging from the rubble of this battle. What does this performance say about Chelsea's readiness to challenge for the Premier League title? The evidence from this game, viewed through the wider lens of their season, suggests a team on the cusp of something significant, yet still missing one fundamental pillar. Under their manager, Chelsea have developed a clear, attractive, and proactive identity. They are a dynamic, forward-thinking side. The encouragement for wingers to take on defenders and commit players is evident. There is a pleasing versatility in the squad, with fullbacks like Cucurella given license to drift into midfield and create overloads, and clever positional interchanges involving players like James and Gusto. The manager has shown he is not afraid of bold, unexpected selection calls, demonstrating a tactical flexibility that goes beyond a rigid adherence to a system. The squad depth and quality in most areas are now formidable, but the midfield possesses both control and drive. The attacking options are varied, potent, and brimming with the kind of individual talent that can decide tight games. Even the goalkeeper, an area of scrutiny, has shown marked improvement in his distribution and overall command. You can watch Chelsea now and see a team that is a genuine good watch, a side that goes after opponents and plays with positive intent. This represents massive progress. However, the difference between being a top 4 side and a title winning side often resides in the core of the defence. Examining Chelsea's lineup, you see a collection of very good, talented centre-backs. What you don't yet see is a definitive, undisputed leader, a true colossus. Title-winning teams are almost always built upon a defensive partnership that is more than the sum of its parts, marshalled by a commanding, vocal and consistently elite presence. Think of the influence of a Virgil van Dijk, a Ruben Diaz, or a John Terry in their primes. These players organise, they inspire, they dominate their penalty area, and they transmit a sense of unwavering security to the entire team. This is the final piece of the puzzle for Chelsea, Farsi. Their current central defensive options are competent, but they lack that singular, authoritative figure who can be the bedrock of a championship challenge. It is the one area where an upgrade from very good to world class would transform the team's ceiling. The manager's own shifting rhetoric is telling. Last season, he was quick to dismiss title talk, managing expectations for a young squad. This campaign, there is a discernible lean into the possibility, an acceptance of the ambition. That subtle shift is powerful. It filters down to the players, making them feel involved in a project with the ultimate prize in sight. The intensity they displayed against Arsenal, that collective buy-in and fight, stemmed from that growing belief. They are learning, evolving, and showing the mentality required. The Premier League is a marathon decided by fine margins, and Chelsea have proven they have the engine, the pace and the tactical intelligence to stay the course. Now, they must find the anchor. Once they solidify that central defensive axis with a leader of true stature, all the dynamic, exciting pieces they have assembled elsewhere on the pitch will coalesce into a unit capable of not just competing in, but winning the most intense wars of attrition. Just like the one they navigated against Arsenal.